how's it going? Andy from Andy G's Garage. Well, I haven't been in the garage for about a month doing anything. So anything I posted in the past month was just stuff I had in the can already. Just here to give a bit of an update. Wasn't sure how to handle this, I guess. Had a bit of a health incident a month ago. I had a TIA / mini stroke. I had a major stroke 7 years ago, and well, then I felt this coming on, got to the hospital right away. They just basically monitored me until things passed, did a CT right away, didn't see a blockage, but they saw something funky with my arteries, so they're digging into that more. Doctors got me off until January, so I've been told, don't work or anything till then. So I guess where anything includes stuff in the garage, well, it's hard to do anything. I get really tired. I do something for like half an hour or so, and I'm down for a couple hours, just want to sleep. It's a little scary, but I feel like I'm in good hands. But I'm not sure. Maybe do a few vintage car magazine reviews just to keep videos posted. I was really starting to put an effort in to make a bunch of content so I could post something once a week. That's my goal, is once a week to post something. This summer was really busy with work and some other things, mostly work. So I haven't touched the tea in about 6 months because I was kind of, I don't know, maybe a little burnt out on it. And it's hard to do stuff in the summer on it too. Why lock yourself in the garage when you can be outside and do stuff like go to the drag races and things like that. So I did work a bunch of overtime too. What normally would happen in the industry I work in, our overtime comes in the spring, do shutdowns, and because of COVID, all that got pushed back to the summer. So our opportunity for overtime was in the summer, and I don't know, it's not really fun to work in the summer, but that's what I ended up doing. So I didn't do a whole lot T-wise. Rewired the Pontiac, if you haven't seen that, that's on the channel. Rewired the Pontiac, broke a shifter, well, took it drag racing, broke a shifter at the drag races, fixed the shifter by swapping out a shifter that I actually bought accidentally. I went to buy some other parts from a fella down in Calgary, and he mentioned that he had we were talking about the cars and what we got and stuff, and he's like, well, I got a 3-speed shifter on the shelf, brand new in the box, do you want it? And I was like, yeah. So I got it really cheap, and they're a few $100 now. Used to work at a parts place many years ago, Performance Parts, a chain here in Canada, and my cost on one of those shifters used to be like $100. Now they're over 300. But I also have to realize that was like 30 years ago. So yeah, and then there's other plans, possibly a big road trip in the Pontiac next summer, like really big road trip. There's two things that have to be done to that car if I'm going to use it for the road trip. And one is the brakes need to be completely gone through. I think I have a leaky wheel cylinder because they're fine, but the fluid goes down over time as you drive it. So I think I'm losing fluid somewhere, and it's not no leaks outside. The other thing that needs to be done to it is AC. Because if we're going to do a road trip like that in the summer, it has to have air conditioning. I'm 50 years old, and it's going to take us through the southwest of the US. Possibly big giant loop in North America, basically, and over a month long, like a month and a half to 2 months long. We'll see us driving from here in Edmonton to Ontario, spending some time visiting family in Ontario, and then heading south to Florida, because my daughter has something that she's involved in at Universal Studios, so I'm gonna go there. That's gonna have us there for a week, and then we thought, well, let's drive across the southwest and then drive up the coast and back to Edmonton. So if that pans out, that'd be freaking awesome. But I got some work to do on the car. Stereo, well, brakes and AC are top. Put a stereo in it. Some charging ports. Because no one can deal with that without those these days. I thought of maybe swapping out to a 5-speed. It has a factory 3-speed. The car cruises okay at 70 miles an hour. Would it be better with a 5-speed? Yes. Do I want to put a 5-speed in it? Not sure. It's supposed to be pretty easy in those. There's got the name of the company written down somewhere, but it's just an adapter that goes in the bell housing, and then an adapter and to change out the pilot bearing and the flywheel, and not sure if I have to do anything with the drive shaft, probably, but it's a possibility. Maybe do that and have it on the channel here. But because of my busyness in the summer, my garage is a disaster. And the rewire job and the shifter and everything else. Shifter was just a total fiasco too. Well, not a total fiasco. There were some things that were. It's one of those universal shifters. It has the stops on it like a Competition Plus, but it's a Hirsch/Mr. Gasket, and it's funny. The box says Mr. Gasket. The boot and everything that came out, like it was stuff was still in the sealed bags, but the shifter boot that came in the kit and everything was all Hirsch. So, yeah, I actually think I can put the old shifter back in because I still want to use or fix up the old shifter and use it on the T. Yeah, I want to get back on the T. I don't know. It's hard to do much right now, so I'll probably do a few vintage car magazine reviews, and then we'll see how things go. Doctor's got me off for the next couple of months anyway. As far as effects of the stroke go, other than being tired, my right arm is not good. It's really weak. I have mobility in it, but it's like really weak, like hard to hold a fork. So, and I'm right-handed, so we'll work on that. But yeah, it's you have plans. You have plans, but we all know about plans, right? And where those go. It's always good to have a plan, don't get me wrong, but sometimes there's things that put the brakes on the plans. I'd planned to get started on the rebuild on the 355. I have a rotating assembly, aluminum heads, the whole 9 yards for it here. I was just really looking for an intake carbon cam, and I'd have all the parts. take the crank out to have it balanced and then start assembling it. The block and everything sitting there ready to go. Wow, I gotta pull the old pistons and crank out of it. Other than that, she's pretty much ready. I'll do that too. That's for the wagon. That's a totally different project. I don't know. It's like a race car, but that trip's gonna pan out next summer. Put the race car on the back burner. We love road trips. That's kind of a dream trip. I can take the opportunity to take it. It'll be well worth doing. Anyway, so that's that. I'm not doing this for sympathy. I'm just letting people know what's going on with the channel, that things are kind of stalled a bit. Hope to be getting back at it. Hope to be getting back on the tee here this winter. I'd like to get it to the point where I've got steering in it and it's a roller, so I can push it around and then fiddle at the little stuff. It's a million little things have to be done on it after that, like pedal placement, because I think stick the steering box in and work on pedal placement around the steering, then get the body on. I'm gonna have the body on and off like 600 times doing this, but it's something that I really want to get back on. I get distracted and get pulled off in different directions. So I may have a wagon for sale, 55 Chev wagon. So because I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead with that as a race car or build something else that's dedicated drag car. I'm tempted to. I have a couple T-cowls, bits and pieces, and maybe an early 60s style gasser or altered, not gasser, altered T Roadster. Put the 355 in it and a power glide, or maybe I've got a couple of 3-speed trans around here, just run them in second and third gear, just run it in high gear, run it on alcohol. I was really looking at going that way with the 355 anyway if I was gonna race it, because the methanol is so much cheaper than race gas. It's like a quarter of the price, so not like you go through a whole ton of race gas, but still the power advantages of running methanol are just too good to be ignored. And now the information, there's so much information out there, whether you're running a carburetor or a mechanical fuel injection type setup. Not looking at going blown, because this motor is probably going to be in the neighborhood of around 12 or 13 to 1 compression anyway. So that's another benefit of methanol, is it has an octane value of around 130, so that helps as well. Yeah, run the methanol and let her rip, build something light so it's actually quick. But basically I had to do everything from scratch on that wagon. Everything. It'd be the same amount of work as building a complete frame here for like a fuel altered style car, or a gas altered, an altered car. Small block, straight tube front axle. Actually, probably less work. I would consider rigid mounting the rear end as well. Just a 2x3 tube frame, steel tube, cage. I wouldn't even go center steer. put two place. So, maybe put some lights on it, and I could throw some plates on it. Methanol huffing, Zoomy having small black power, freaking altered. I think if I did do that, then one thing that's gonna cost some dough is, if I'm not gonna have a blower on it, it's gonna have Hillborn style stacks. I mean, it could run something, I could run a methanol carburetor, right? Alcohol carburetor set up for alcohol, but it just won't have the look, right? I mean, it's small enough cubes, it shouldn't be too difficult. Don't need a huge, crazy fuel system. I can do it easy. Mechanical fuel pump. Little fuel tank at the front. Be an ethanol, just fill the block. I could probably run it without even a rad. Just the benefit of all that. Maybe just some water in the heads, and the block mostly filled with an expansion tank on it. It just has to get warm enough to run. I'll look more into that. So if someone around me wants a 55 wagon, hit me up. I'm seriously considering unloading that so I can use the dough for other things. It's cheap. Like $2,000 cheap. Anyway, yes, I can try and do some more. I'm gonna try and do little things, maybe like half an hour here or there, or maybe just some magazine reviews. Starting to feel a little better physically, but it's a long haul. Anyway, thank you, and we'll talk later.